Hey, what's up? This is your girl Diamond. I go live every Friday to talk about current events or some movie that I've watched that I think is pretty good. And today we're going to talk about Honk for Jesus, starring, who was in the movie? Regina Hall. And what is the guy's name? Sterling? I can't remember the guy's name. He's totally handsome. But something Sterling, Isaiah Sterling, or what is the dude's name? Regina Hall and something Sterling. It's Sterling. I know I remember Sterling. But hey Ray, how are you? Yes, it is. Hey Brandon, you just watched it? I am so glad you just watched it. So, just to give you some, let me see. So, Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul is like a satire about the glam, the scandal, the hypocrisy that is present in Black mega churches. Um, I wouldn't say it's just a full on comedy. It definitely anything, honey. Regina Hall is in is gonna give you some kikis, but I wouldn't say it's a comedy because it definitely goes deep into some dramatic moments, but definitely gonna garnish a lot. But it's surprisingly dramatic, um, and I think it's a deep commentary on the religious Black community. So I wanted to talk about that being Sterling K. Brown. Thank you. I remember the Sterling. I didn't know what else. So Regina Hall and Sterling K. Brown. Thank you. They are playing characters by the name of Sterling is playing a character by the name of Lee Curtis Sullivan. I think their last name is Sullivan. And Trinity is Regina's character, his first lady wife. So before we get started, I want to say hey to everybody. Hey Marissa. Hey CL. Give everybody a chance to come on in. Did y'all watch the movie? Did y'all watch it? I tried to post it in our community tab to let y'all know that that's what I was going to talk about this week. I hope y'all saw it. I seen a couple of people thumbs it up, so hopefully y'all checked it out before we start. But even if you didn't, it's going to be spoilers. But it was a good show, so I still think you should watch it and check it out, and we will explore those things. I have been really busy this week because I don't know if I've talked about this before. So I am the executive director of Black Trans Women's Inc., a part of the Black Trans Advocacy Coalition. And we have a conference every year at the end of April. Look, y'all know I have this spiel that I got to give to people all the time. And we have a conference every year in April. And it is a Black centered trans conference. And so there's no other like it in the country. So this is our first year back. We had to not do it because of COVID for a couple of years, but this is our first year back actually doing the conference, and it's our 10-year anniversary. And so we are trying to do it big. So if you are a Black trans person or a gender non-binary person or a person just wanting to be in community with trans people, come to the conference. The the registration, the early bird registration is there's an early bird deal on the website. You can just search Black Trans Advocacy Conference, and the website should pop up. And yeah, that the early bird registration, cheaper registration it goes all the way until January the 31st. So you got time if you want to register. It is in Dallas, Texas. and it is the last week of April, and that date is the 24th through the 30th. The main days, like say if you can't stay that get off of work that whole week, the main days that you definitely want to come is going to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's the 27th, 28th, 29th. We do an a formal attire awards gala that is so bomb. You know, you dress up and get fly. One of the reasons why it was created is so if you are a trans person that didn't get to go to your prom, because you transitioned either later in life, you come as if you are going to the prom. um, and you know, it's just so fly. It's just so fly because we have dinner for everybody, and we give out awards, and we have a DJ, and we have a party, and just full of family and fun and trans people just having a damn ball. And so that's one thing that we do. Of course, the educational portion is the workshops that happens from Tuesday all the way to Friday. We also have a ball that we have every year with cash prizes. We have a pageant every year, also with cash prizes, and you get a year of reigning as Miss Trans. Oh my eye is raining. Also, we have on Saturday a family day where it's like a cookout. We rent out this private ranch and have all kind of family games and like spades and dominoes and a DJ, and we just out there at the ranch having a good old black ass time, with barbecue, just like a classic family reunion. Everybody wear the same shirts, and you know we take a big group picture, just like a black ass family reunion. It is dope. We all get in. We rent buses, and it's super fun. Rent buses, sing songs on the buses, and go to the ranch. So if this sounds like a great time to you, and anybody can come. I want you to be understand. So even if you just feel like this is a vibe that you want to be a part of, you can come. But it is for trans people. My eye is wearing me out, and I need some tissue or something because it is making it water. Mm, I'll be right back. Hmm. I wonder why it's doing this. What? All right. Try to get cute for y'all and put some makeup on, honey. They just wearing my eyeball out. Anyway, so hi, Andre. Hey, Fresh. So yeah, so we do the conference every year, and it's just a bomb ass black ass trans time. But tons of people there. Gay men are there, lesbians. Um, Sometimes white people. Sometimes we even had a trans white girl come because she just didn't have community and she was looking for community and didn't know it was a she just saw the trans conference and just kind of came from out of town and she didn't know it was like a black trans conference, and she was like, I don't know if I feel comfortable. I was like, girl, come on through, have fun. And she was welcome and had a great time, and she was cool. She was good people, so she had a ball and she comes every year just because it is what it is. um yes. So come through. Anyway, so we have a lot to talk about. So how many people press one if you watch the movie Honk for Jesus? You actually watched it. And make sure if you are new here, make sure you thumbs up. I'm not new, or if you know what's up. Make sure you thumbs up. Get that engagement up. So not that many of y'all have watched it. Oh my God. Y'all hear me out. All right. So give you um some general backstory. Not backstory on the movie, but just to give you an idea of kind of what we're gonna kind of discuss. I kind of gotta talk about prosperity gospel. So throughout the late 1900s. That's funny that I get to say 1900s like it's, I was born in the 1900s. um, back in the back half of the 1900s, there was this rise of prosperity gospel, and it is also known as like health and wealth gospel. It is, it is. I wouldn't say it's a denomination. It's not a denomination. It's just a any denomination could have this, but it's just a type. It's like a type of gospel and type of ministry in any denomination that really focuses on wealth, that really focuses on money and wealth, and but the theology, it and they teaches that God wants their followers to be, um their believers to be financially prosperous and um physically healthy. So um looking good, having money, having cars, having wealth is prosperity gospel. There's tons of Tammy Faye Baker and her husband, um, Cleophas Dollar. Anybody usually with a mega church. Now they done kind of got out of it, and I'll go into detail. My notes. I'll go into details why it's looking different than it is. It's looking different today than it did back in the day. Now, back in the day, it used to be kind of really extravagant. That's why you see them girls, them white women like honey, Miss Mother Jan Crouch with her pink Barbie hair and lashes, and Tammy Faye Baker with her lashes, and they in fur coats, and they are in, they fabulous because prosperity gospel, and remember, it's not a particular denomination; it's just a style of ministry. Prosperity gospel is about luxury. It's about we are showing that we are the blessed children of God because of what we have, because we are blessed. And it's okay for us to be materialistic. It's okay for us to have these jets and have these cars and have these $1 million homes. And this is what God blessed us with, because we are following his teachings and being faithful servants of the Lord. So we get to have these things, and you can too if you donate 10% of your tithes to this church. This is so that's why that's where you get the classic um tele telephone operator call, and honey, call and get blessed with your prayer blanket or your holy handkerchief. You call and and for 10.99 we'll send you this blessed over, prayed over handkerchief in the mail that's been sprayed with holy water and prayed over by our church, the Church of Reciprocity. I don't know if it's reciprocity because they weren't giving too much back. It's capitalism plus Jesus. Yes. It's a little Holy Spirit and bling bling. It is not enough just to have money. You have to show you have money, hence the extravagance. Exactly. Because, this being downtrodden doesn't show that God is still in his in his blessing. In his blood, God still has favor. God still has blessings, honey. He's still out here performing miracles and blessings. If you looking like you downtrodden, low, and doing broke and sad, Child, how they supposed to believe that the Lord is blessing you a child of God? If you're not blessed, if you're a child of God, you're supposed to be looking blessed. You need to be in a Mercedes. You need to be in $1 million home. You need to have Prada. You need to have Italian leather shoes and tons of suits and gowns and look your best. Now there was a time when it was very clownery and ridiculous. Um, but there was a really, really popular white ministries that have thus fallen. Um, um, and Tammy Faye Baker and her husband is one of the most popular. Um, and they fail because of this kind of prosperity gospel. And there have been new iterations of it. Joel Osteen, TD Jakes, um, Cleophas Dollar, duh, New Birth, Eddie Long. And so this movie, Home for Jesus, is kind of like a satire of Eddie Long's story. So another a couple of things. Let's talk about why prosperity gospel kind of had its downfall. One of the reasons is because, and I'm reading from my notes. I'm sorry. Um, Not that I need glasses, but I want to put my glasses on because I feel like I look cute. um, Materialism. So that's a negative, and so people who were critics of the prosperity gospel and people who have these mega churches. It's not just it's kind of has shifted to be more not as glamorous, but still, they still asking you for jets to go to Africa to do missionary work. They still got their fancy suits on. They still got the $1,000 church hats for the first ladies and gowns and coats, and it's still there. It's just not as heavy as it used to be. It's just more like the French do, subtle, subtle richness. Um, they feel that critics really say that they promoted materialism and consumerism and encourage believers to focus on accumulating wealth and possessions rather than their spiritual growth and helping other people. So, one element of Christianity, and that's what we're talking about Christianity here, because usually it's some form of Christianity that we're talking about in America. Um, you're supposed to be converting people and saving souls and getting people on the good path in life. And you are supposed to not only be getting other people to convert and believing in God, you also are supposed to be on a spiritual journey for yourself to get make you a better person as time goes on with wisdom and spiritual growth and your relationship with God. Those are pillars of the religion. And so if you diminish those pillars and make the pillars of capitalism and consumerism and materialism, all those things, and make those the focus, you are actually um, losing the core values that people are supposed to have. And it goes back to the whole money is the root of all evil. The love of money is the root of all evil. I want to be very clear how I quote the Bible because it's actually the love of money, um, not money. The love of money is the root of all evil. And so it kind of emphasizes that scripture, because if you're focusing on materialism, capitalism, and all that kind of stuff and wealth, then you start to idolize money and not idolize God. You feel what I'm saying? And so critics of this kind of gospel is like, that's kind of ugly and that's not cute. You got people following you, but understand the sheep of the world are just like they look at celebrities and say, "Oh, all this bling bling. I want to be just like them. I want to get their purse. I want to get their the Birkin bag because Birkins are ugly. I don't care what nobody says. Chanel's and Birkins are ugly. I don't care what nobody say. But people covet them because they are a sign of wealth. And so I hate Chanel's and I hate Birkins. Now, I got designer bags, but I got designer bags that I like. And they have to look good. You cannot be ugly and I just buy you because you got a name. You got to look good for me. And so certain things, if you're focusing on just the name, and just like people look at my point was, if you focus, just like people focus on celebrity and be like, oh, I want to have this certain thing that they have, and they idolize them. People who are more into church can idolize these preachers who have their bags and their cars and their ideologies in money, and so they can, so that money can become idols as well. So I'm praising the the designer names, the car names. It's not really about, I'm not doing all the things I'm doing for Jesus and for Christ to convert people. I'm doing it to have this image of Jesus that I have rooted in materialism. Do you get what I'm saying? So that is a problem. And people who are faithful servants of Christ, faithful servants of the Lord, with some fucking common sense, are going to look at that as problematic. And so, yeah. Another element is that is the downfall, going to church to worship the pastor. I've seen it firsthand. Absolutely. Hello, 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 Magic. Hello, L. Hello, Maya. I don't think I said hello to you. Nova, hey. Who else came in? That's it. That's all I see. Thumbs up if you're here, or if you're not new here. If you're new here, enjoy the conversation till you feel like you need to thumbs up. Hey, Vane. And then, okay, another element of the downfall of prosperity gospel. That's always an element of why people don't fuck with them. A lot of people do. Don't get it twisted. That's why these mega churches exist. Usually led by somebody who just has the gift of gab. People don't understand there are gifts. There are gifts to gab. Like that's what my grandmother called it. The gift of gab means you're just a good talker. You're a person who can explain things well. You have this persona, this charisma that makes people listen to you because you can string words together and be dynamic. And then there's a way, there's a way that you are trained coming up in the church of how to speak and get people excited. You learn to be a oratory master. Um, so yes, they are. Uh, Many people could do this. People who are good talkers, they just didn't get into the church. Anybody you hear that just got I call it the gift of gab. My grandmother called it the gift of gab. And so they're just good at talking. And so if you add that to scripture, add that to spirituality and the indoctrination that our culture has been has been under, when it comes to Christianity, you add that I know how to relate your life to this Bible. And if I'm making a pitch to get you to give me your money, it's easy for them to not just give me your money, to believe in my vision of this church. Not just that. So, but it also, one of the critiques is the false promises. That's the downfall of prosperity church. Many prosperity churches make promises of financial blessings and physical healing. When I know y'all have seen it. If y'all never paid attention to this, y'all seen all these church people around, and they holding somebody's head and pushing them down, and the devil of cancer, come out, be gone, get out of here, get it, you can, the Lord said you cannot be here. And they are claiming to heal people. They are claiming to ostracize demons, and they are claiming to they putting oil on your forehead. And I remember there was one went viral that was really funny in Africa, where the dude was grabbing the guy's penises and and just being weird and creepy, because shit like this is weird and creepy. But there's these false promises that they make of financial blessing and physical healing. But when these promises are not fulfilled, many believers are left feeling disillusioned and disappointed. And I recently watched um y'all want to do? I might do this next week. But y'all tell me if y'all want me to do this next Friday. I recently watched Calling Miss Cleo, the story about the Miss Cleo from the Psychic Network. I just watched that and it was really really good to me. Do y'all want me to do a review of that? If so, I won't bring it up here yelling at demons, yelling at demons like it's a mouse in the kitchen. Okay, I'll do that next Friday. So I'll do the Cleo thing. So I won't bring up my points about her until next Friday. I'll do it then. But what it is these people who are looking for guidance, they are, especially if they have this connection. Church has been a part. Look, there are a lot of people who are not Christian, but they culturally Christian. Do you see what I'm saying? Who church has been so ingrained in the people around them that they have no choice for it but for it to affect their life. And so, yeah, you can watch it on HBO Max. Um, it's so ingrained in their, it's so ingrained in their culture that they just do not. They ain't opened the Bible ever in their life. They don't know nothing about what the words say. But because Christianity is so pervasive in our culture, um, they still live culturally Christian under the same indoctrination and rules and all that kind of stuff. And so when they see these preachers and they're living lavish and preachers have an amazing way to make a metaphor. That's why everybody in the church like, oh, the preacher was talking exactly to me, because they'll be talking in these parables and these metaphors that can apply to anybody's life. It's similar to like zodiac signs. And so it could apply to anybody's life. Anybody could be feeling these things in the moment and make it, and what you're saying, because what you're saying is so general, they can make it relatable to their own life. We do that with music, we do that with poetry, we do that with any form of art that we consume. We can take a personal take on it, stories, art, music, whatever. That's why so certain songs are so relatable to so many people, because we know how to contort ourselves into contort the idea of this piece of art into something that is relatable to our story. And so a lot of preachers are amazing at doing that, just using the Bible and using the teachings of the Bible to make it relate to multiple people. And so these people are listening to these people and going through stuff, and motherfuckers can't afford therapy. And so it becomes this thing where they're getting motivated by these preachers, and these preachers become almost like their confidants, their therapists. And so I feel good when I go to church. I feel like I can start the next week even better, and feel proud of myself and feel like I got a goal and feel like, and first of all, when you put yourself in it as a Christian, you become the elite. First of all, because you are the leading religion around the world. What expect well, Muslims is but in America, definitely Christianity. And so when you say I'm a Christian, you now become the norm. I know they try to act like, oh, Christianity is under attack. Christianity is not under attack. Christianity is the norm. It's like white people saying, "Oh, it's reverse racism." Christianity is the norm. You can be proud to be a Christian. You don't need to be ashamed to be a Christian at all. So ain't nobody wearing you out. But they love to act like, the Christians are under attack. Christian morals are under attack. Girl, on. And so it puts them in a place, a social place above everybody else, above the sinners. I'm saved. Y'all still in the world. Y'all still in the secular world. I'm saved. So it gives them a sense of pride. And they could be low self-esteem and needing pride from somewhere, from anywhere, any source. And this preacher is preaching to them where you are the favorite God. You are the saints. And so, it puts them in a position above other people, and they run with that. And especially if you add money and materialism to it, they run with it. They run with it. Ooh, I got money, I got cars, I got this, and I'm a Christian. Oh, I'm that girl, baby. I'm much better than you, immoral sin hoes. All right, so we got materialism, false promises. Another thing is lack of biblical support. The prosperity church model is often criticized for being based on distorted interpretations of the Bible with little support from scripture. Ain't nowhere in the Bible telling you you need to take these people money. Ain't nowhere in the Bible telling you that you need to have a jet, that you need to have all of this kind of crazy over expensive things. Ain't nobody telling you that, baby. No, I don't think and this is my me just personally talking. I think if you are doing the work, the business side of a church, the taking care of the church home, the building, taking, paying the cleaners to come in and clean, because there is a business side of church. It is a legitimate part. There is some business side of it that you have to take care of. When it comes like people who come and vacuum the floor, people who come wash the pews, who come wash the toilets at the church, who come cut the grass, all these things are the business side of church, because that money don't come from thin air. It comes from the congregation. And so I do think if you are a preacher, there is a level of care that there's a monetary need that you're going to have. I think you should have a patronage, a home that's connected to the church. Um, I think that you can um, you know things that us that your cost of living, I think it should be taken care of, because you are running this entity to help people. But that don't mean Mercedes, that don't mean jets, that don't mean that. Now another element, what happens is when you have this business of the church that does not get taxed, you have this plethora of money, and they go into social enterprises, and they go into things, other businesses, and they make money in other businesses. So they're stifling money from the church to do these other businesses, and these businesses grow, and so they become wealthy just without tax-free wealth. And so that is the hustle. That is a lot of preachers. That is the hustle. And so you have this tax-free religious entity, and then the money that you do, you invest it in other things, and then this becomes another business. And so when people would critique them, they'd be like, "Oh, I do other things other than this church stuff. I own this, I own property, I own real estate, I own da 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 da," but not being truthful about, I got this money from the church. But then also not sowing those seeds back into your congregation. Like, how many of your congregation members are you paying their rent? Are you helping them with their bills? Are you getting them some cars? Are you lifting up your congregation in the same way that they are lifting you up? They're literally lifting you up out of poverty into wealth. How are you transferring those funds to your congregation? Are you sending some people to school? Are you helping people with tuition? Are you doing these things? Now, if you were doing those things, it actually wouldn't be that bad. To me, if you were, if your congregation is also being prosperous and also coming up out of poverty and coming up out of and coming into generational wealth in the same way that you are doing, it actually wouldn't be that bad to me. But because none of these things are rooted in the scripture, I think that's an element of the downfall of prosperity gospel. Um, another element, and when we talk about what I was just talking about, how are you uplifting the community, especially if you are a black church, because black churches have been in the past pillars of social justice, right? They have been places where people could meet to organize and push culture forward in regards to race and discrimination, and gender. Culturally, the black church has been just a not only a spiritual center but a social justice center. And so the lack of social justice element is also what critics how critics critique prosperity gospel. Y'all still with me? Y'all quiet? um they argue that prosperity churches often lack a focus on social justice and helping the poor instead of encouraging believers to focus solely on their own financial. Instead they encourage believers to only focus on their own financial success instead of a community success. Instead of helping people, poor people. You know, the bank, the racist white bank that won't give you the loan. Why can't you get a donation or a seed, a funding seed from the church? This is a mega church. They got the funds. And we now little churches, maybe not. But a big ass church, they might could pay some light bills though. But a big mega church, you ain't got no funds to help people, give people loans to start their businesses. You don't have any funds to help people get down payments on their house. Like how are you sowing the seeds in your congregation? And I think that lack of social justice aspect is also a downfall of the prosperity gospel. Honk for Jesus is a real story with a certain bishop. Yes, Eddie Long. That is the inspiration. Um, and last but not least, a common element of prosperity gospel is the scandal and the abuse. Some prosperity churches and their leaders have been involved in financial scandals, clearly, obviously, because they go into these scammy little situations to get your money, and then they try to flip the money into um um they try to flip your money into other stuff that could be scams and BS. And so there's this they usually the leaders when we think of Ted Haggard, when we think of Eddie Long, when we think of Cleophas Dollar, when we think of these people who have these scandals under their belt. Um or the abuse of power, rape, molesting, um manipulating congregations into doing your constituents to your congregation to do certain things, like manipulating them into that, all that kind of abuse of power. um I thought it was a parody movie. I loved it. It was good. um Damaging the reputation of the entire. So when you go through these scandals, right? When you go through these scandals and you go through your abuse of not only power or abuse of young girls, look at this is not Christian, but this Muslim. Look at NOI, Nation of Islam, when um look how damaging that was when Elijah Muhammad was getting those teenage girls pregnant and then kicking them out of the Nation of Islam. Look at and then the leaders starting to find out. Malcolm X, being one of them, started to find out and hear about your discretions. It and especially when some of your key pillars of your religion is discipline and taking care of women and taking care of children um and um not being a slave to your natural desires and those kind of things. And then you out here you're married and having sex with young girls and getting them pregnant and then kicking them out of the church for getting pregnant. And you got them pregnant and you the leader. Yeah, that kind of abuse of power, it undermines the movement that you're on, right? It undermines whatever momentum of whatever the movement that you're trying to create, whether it be movement towards Christ, movement towards Allah, whatever the movement is that you're in, it undermines it. It stops people from believing in that shit once you have been caught in your abuses, in your abusive behavior, and caught in your scandal. You running around here talking about you don't believe in gay marriage, Bishop Eddie Long. Ted Haggard. You don't believe in gay marriage. The whole negative aspect of anti-LGBT LGBT um LGBT sentiments that like in Colorado, one of the main people who started the uprising against LGBT people was Ted Haggard. And come to find out he was hiring male prostitutes. the whole the political landscape when it comes to anti-LGBT, one of the balls that got that rolling was Ted Haggard's church and his movement, and his scandal stopped it, but it still made it, there's still these kind of like trinkles of that movement going on, but it undermined it. He can't, he tried to come back and be a preacher. He probably still is, but he's not at the level that he was because it undermines people believing you. Because you were lying. You was literally talking about anti-gay stuff, helping people write and construct legislations against gay people, and you was hiring male prostitutes. What? The hypocrisy. People are not going to continue to believe that. Some people will, the sheep. But that just doesn't work on the long term. Um, so overall, the downfall of the prosperity church, the church model, um, has been its materialism, its false promises, and the lack of biblical support, as well as the scandals and abuse amongst its leaders. And so I wanted to give that kind of what this movie was parroting is this culture, the black version of the prosperity church, and not just the prosperity church, just the image of the black church, the big black church, the BBC, the other BBC. So the movie starts out with um 40 minutes later. But I needed to talk about that, so just so I can get it out the way, so I don't forget to get to do a deep dive into prosperity church. Because I think it's important for you to know the history of that and why it never works, and people just suck it up, but it never really works because they all usually are fake. um, so it starts when we come into the movie Honk for Jesus. We meet two characters, Trinity Sullivan and Lee Curtis Sullivan, and we are meeting them after a scandal was exposed, and they are trying to attempt to make a comeback. So they are letting this documentary director come into their lives and record them on their journey back to the limelight after the scandal, them trying to convince people that this was not something that they're going to let destroy them. They are in litigation with a person that is suing them, that is trying to get a settlement. And one of the good things that they feel like they can come back from is this wasn't minors. This wasn't minors. If it was minors, it might be a scandal they can't come back from. But this wasn't minors. And from what everybody know, it hasn't gotten out to the point where everybody knows the type of relationship that it was. They don't know, and we don't find out till the middle of the show, is that it actually was a same-sex scandal. And so when you see them in their relationship, they are trying to come back. They have their old church. People have stopped coming to it. There's another church couple that is now that they have fallen, and this is something that happens too. When this church falls, somebody that gives somebody else the opportunity to come up and be the new supreme baby. And that kind of how it works. And so a new couple is coming up that birth from them, but they don't have the stain that comes from them, and so they're trying to come up, and so they have this plan to come back, and they're doing these very very obnoxious things that I find to be like quite um like wow, but I think it for the sake of the movie is really good. So they're talking about what type of clothes they're gonna wear, and they're talking about Prada and designer clothes, and I'm like, ooh, if this is a documentary I was watching, it would be so cringy because why, if you're trying to come back and get in our good graces, why are you trying to wear us out with these labels, girl? That's not smart. That's not smart. And then even them both, if you remember, there was one scene when they were talking to the director and recording them. They're both sitting on gold thrones and they're talking, and he's just being his egotistical self. And I'm just like, the image of y'all both sitting on these gold thrones is just not a good image. Why are they not telling y'all to y'all gotta do something else? Go sit in the middle, go sit in the grass or something. Look real earthy and down to earth. But sitting on the in the pulpit in these thrones, this ain't looking good. But they can't help it. This is just their way of this is just how they do their ministry. They can't help but to think like this. Like you gotta look a certain way. And so a element that I really enjoy from the beginning of the show is how Regina Hall's character, Trinity, the first lady, is always in this tug of war of balancing his ego and their image to keep him grounded, and he's trying to be this superstar, this egotistical maniac. Oh, they coming for me, and da 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 da. Da. And she's constantly, especially in the beginning, it kind of stops, it kind of slows down and stops totally towards the end. But in the beginning, you really see her trying to round him out and be this demure first lady and this sweet, nice, feminine first lady to keep him grounded, especially that portion when she was telling him like he was doing too much when they were sitting at the on the two thrones. And so she was trying to just, you can see her wrangling him like, calm down, sweetie, da 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 da. And he's just oblivious to it because his ego has blinded him to some of the shit that he's doing. And he's not understanding that once you have a scandal, you have to go about this a certain way. And because he's been making it work this prosperity gospel way for so long, he's has some of the same habits that he thought worked, but he hasn't changed. He's the same kind of bird who trying to fly the same kind of way. And so what starts to happen is that Trinity starts one of a perfect scene that I love, that I really, really love, is the scene between Trinity and one of their old ex church members. Do y'all remember that scene? That scene was so cute because they were being nice, nasty to each other. And if anybody grew up in the church, y'all had to come across a moment like this where there's two church ladies that really don't like each other, but they're church ladies, so it's not gonna be like bitches in the hood. It's a certain decorum that comes with being a church lady. And but I don't like you. And so, yes, in the mall. And it was so hilarious, them going back and forth in this kind of nice, nasty way, in her bringing up the messy part of his scandal, and saying that she has gone, moved on to another church, and wishing them the best, and all this kind of really nice, nasty conversation between the two. It was the God bless you hate is on another level. Absolutely. I thought that scene was brilliant because I have seen that so many times with my aunts, with church ladies that I knew didn't like each other. And it's a beautiful thing. Church reads, yes, church reads. Absolutely. I think it's a beautiful thing. So there's also a scene where, which is kind of a foreshadowing of, at this point in the movie, it's a foreshadowing of us about to find out that it's actually a boy that he's messing around with, that he had been messing around with. So it's a scene where they both are in bed and she's feeling horny. The first lady is feeling horny, so she wants to mess around with him. But once she start getting him hot and ready, he's trying to do anal sex, baby. And she says, I thought we would do it the regular way. And so he obliged, but that's not really his tea. He wants to be in that booty hole, that booty cat, baby. So he's doing it to her in her little cooter cat, and it's just not getting him off because that's not his tea. That's just not his, he wants to be in some booty hole, honey. And so, but she wasn't accommodating, so he just wanted her to give him some head. And so this whole scene is her doing this kind of compromising dead sexually, of him compromising with her compromising with him, and it gets to a point where she loses the battle at the end of the day because she didn't get what she wanted and he got what he wanted, got some head and got him off, and he rolls over, goes sleep after he nuts, and she's just unsatisfied in the bed. And so it foreshadows why he wanted to do it the anal way, because he actually likes boys. He actually likes boys. And what I find interesting, let's talk about down, not talk about down low men, but I don't know. I don't know. I know they know that people can be down low, but I just don't. I feel it's hard. I feel it's hard. It's easy for, I don't want to say just women, but let's talk about women, cis women, heterosexual cis women who date presumably heterosexual cis men. I want to know, why is it so hard for them to understand that the performance of masculinity has nothing to do, it does not reflect their sexual exploration. I know that you can sense, you have a gaydar too. I know you can sense when a man is feminine, that kind of, honey, snap in the Z formation feminine. It's easy to sense that kind of homosexuality. It's easy to sense that kind of gay man, but you don't understand that gay and bisexual men come in multiple iterations. They not just feminine. There are men who like men, who don't like trans women, who don't like um who don't like feminine gay men. There are masculine men, stereotypically masculine men who like other stereotypically masculine men. And they don't give off any um they don't give off any stereotypical clues. They not wearing skirts. They not wearing makeup. They're not rolling their necks and rolling their eyes and using gay lingo and doing all the stuff you think you can tell is gay. How are we gonna? I don't want to think. It's not our job to get it through your head. But when are y'all gonna let go of that? You cannot tell anybody's sexuality by how they perform their gender. When is that going to get through y'all head? And just like you know how you can tell somebody is gay, those men know how you can tell somebody is gay. And their performance is not going to reflect that because they know those are hints. And so they're not going to be acting like your gay friend Antoine. They're not going to do that. That's not who they are. That's not, actually not their culture. Antoine been knowing he was gay since he was little, so he went and found the gay community. And he been in that culture since forever, since he became a teen or whatever. And so he done picked up the lingo. He know he being free over here. Jamal, on the other hand, never got into that culture. Jamal continued to stay in church and mimicking masculinity the way it's the toxic way that it is played over on this side. And then, or in church, or Jamal was mimicking the way toxic masculinity he saw in the on the music videos, objectifying women and being misogynistic, or how the hood niggas in his neighborhood, or his father, because he didn't show up like this feminine gay man. He didn't need to be pushed out of the home. He didn't need to be pushed out of the main culture yet, because he knew how to perform masculinity well. A feminine gay man gets pushed out of the culture quick. He got to go find his tribe because he can't be in this culture without being harmed. So he has to go find his people fast because we all need community. But Jamal, because he can perform masculinity in a certain way, he don't have to get kicked out. He can still get pussy. He can still get a nut. He can still maneuver in this world in a way. So he learned that, oh, and I can get my dick sucked by Antoine. Oh, and I can get some booty by Antoine. I can still fuck boys and get my nut this way. Oh, what y'all over here talking about? Child, the bedroom scene had me sliding. Sis, you settled with no nut. Why? But that is norm because centering a man's pleasure is kind of a norm in heterosexual sex. I'm talking like I know heterosexual sex. I don't know heterosexual sex, so I don't know. But based on what the heterosexual girls tell me, and based on when I was trying to perform being a heterosexual back in the day, I know men will easily let you center their pleasure without getting yours. So, and I hear that a lot from from cis women who date cis men. They will easily ignore your pleasure. Easily. And let you center. And actually, everything around them is teaching them to center their own pleasure. Porn is teaching them that. Other boys, other men, even some women is teaching them to go sow their royal oats. Everything is teaching them that. Even women who are abused. Look, we learned really early on in Color Purple. You remember, even though Celie was getting abused by Mister, only thing she knew to tell Hoppo is to beat Sophia, to get her acting right. What kind of toxic shit is that? But that is a real thing people do because they don't know any better. You told Hoppo to beat me, you end up with a dead son. You remember Sophia had to tell her that. The fuck are you talking about? How you gonna tell him to beat me like he beat you? We saw that scene is a powerful scene because of that. We didn't understand. It made us question what? Celie, why would you tell Hoppo to beat her? It made us explore that because she didn't know any better. And there are women who will uphold patriarchy and not teach men to center, that will teach their sons, along with the rest of the men and culture, to teach their son not to center a woman's pleasure. You supposed to hump, get your nut. That's what you supposed to do. Get all the pussy you can. So, so yes, I thought that that scene was indicative to the truth, especially somebody who has grown up in a church culture that suppresses women's sexuality. Thumbs up if you're watching. Um, that oppresses women's sexuality. When you come up in a culture that says you can't explore, you can't do nothing until you get married, you can't. Yeah, when you get married, you can do whatever, but then your husband, who is the head of your household, who is the head, who is ingraining you as the head, of course, if he want to do that, of course, if he wants to just do this, of course, if he wants to, and then especially even like cheating, your husband can cheat, but you can't cheat because boys will be boys, men will be men. That's just how men are, girl. You just got to stick bound through sickness and in health. The culture will teach them against their own pleasure, teach them against their own instincts that they know they're being harmed. So the whole world is centering, telling them to center their pleasure. It is not, and even the ones that might eat your pussy, sometimes that is for them too. Not all the time, but they gotta get older. Some of them don't even grow out of this. But the ones that do, they gotta get older to learn how to center a woman's pleasure. I definitely don't know any. And then so another element of this, to me, I think the powerful story in this is Trinity's story. Like she is standing by her man and dealing with all that she's dealing with. And she has a monologue at the end, Trinity, and she talks about it. She says, I did what I was supposed to do. I was taught that I'm supposed, even when she had the conversation with her mama. Remember, her mama said, Daddy was doing all of that kind of stuff. How did you deal with this? Like, when did you have to stop leaning on the Bible when it comes to him doing all this bad stuff? And her mama said, Girl, when he was in the grave. But here I am in this luxury home, baby. Because I dealt with this. This is what I get for my labor. You stay with your husband and you figure it out. And Trinity was like, ooh, I don't know if I can figure that out. This is late. But at the end, she was like, yo, when she was in that fucking mask, when she was in that pantomime upstairs. Do y'all hear that banging? That's a dog upstairs, a big ass dog. Shut it up. Anyway, um, she when she was in that pantomime phase, she was like, I did what I was supposed to do on all levels of this. I was the motherfucker who was harmed. I was the person who was cheated on. He broke his vows. And now I have to negotiate money from this dude, this boy, not a little boy, but this young man who is now asking for more money and extorting us, basically, like kind of legally blackmailing us. Now he's asking for more money. And so, and I'm standing by my man now. I'm sitting here being ridiculous, looking ridiculous in this paint. I'm literally a clown. Literally. I'm literally a clown. I have my big yellow church lady hat and suit on and this white paint. I'm literally a clown for this man. Literally. That is what I got from the imagery when it comes to in that moment when he tried to convince her to when he did not try to when he did convince her to take it to the next level and get in that white paint for to win people over. Child, literally a clown. And I did what I was supposed to do. And here I am being disrespected and embarrassed. And honestly, if this is not a metaphor for Black women, period, in this country, the amount of stuff that we got to deal with when balancing this fool out, the good and the bad ones, the good and bad of this dude, the good and the bad. To try to get him a second chance, only for him to be still trying to be a disgusting perv. Because not only you knew he didn't change, right? We knew he didn't change from that the conversation he had with the boy who was one of the sound engineers of the movie, of the documentary, that he was having the conversation in the basketball court, which I thought was a brilliant scene. Whoever wrote that scene was brilliant, because you rarely see these kind of moments with how men, masculine men, pull these boys, because it is literally exactly how they pull young girls. And I'm not talking about minors, even though they do try to pull minors. But how he was trying to remember when he was talking to old boy, trying to pull him. You feel what I'm saying? At first he's saying, I can give you some tips on how to look younger. The wolf came out on that basketball court. It did. There was an entire energy shift. Absolutely. So you realize in that moment that he really hasn't changed. He got caught, but he really hasn't changed, because now he sees this attractive young man. And now I'm going to try to do my tactics. I'm going to try to tell you I can help you. I'm going to try to tell you that I can pull some strings for you. I'm gonna tell you that I can help you in your career. We can get you to come down to the church and be our sound guy once we come back. Like, he's using his same tactics that we know from the boys, that this is what he does. He uses his money to abuse his power, and he goes after these young men who don't got nothing. Who will do what he wants them to do, because they'll have access to his money, access to the privileges that comes along with being with this popular pastor with a coin. These are the tactics of R. Kelly. These are the tactics of, just a hood ass nigga who is trying to pull a young little 14-year-old girl that's in the hood. Hey, Paige, welcome. You see what I'm saying? These are tactics. And this is the negative about, not the negative. It's negative, but there's another word that I want to use, but it's not coming to my brain. This is the negative about poverty that makes you vulnerable as a child that got some sense. There was when I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, not little kid. When I was a teenager, okay, illegal in the eyes of the law. Y'all, I talked about the Love Beneath, the Willpower, the video I got in the Love Beneath called The Willpower. I talked about how Will was not an old man like some 60-year-old, but he was 28 when I was a teenager, and he had sex with me. When I was in that moment, when I was in that position, I felt like I had agency. Do you see what I'm saying? Because he didn't rape me. He didn't force me. He didn't manipulate me. He didn't do anything to me that made me feel like, oh, he forced me into this sexual situation. I got close to him and we messed around. Now, as an adult, as a 28-year-old, he should have known better. But as somebody who was 16, I felt from my position, I wasn't being manipulated. I knew exactly what was going on. I knew he shouldn't have been doing it. I knew that he was older, but I felt like I was a mature person. I was a mature 16-year-old. Not saying any of this is right because he is a 28-year-old. He should know better, right? He's the one that's doing wrong. But as a kid, teenage kid, I remember being in situations where there was a dude. His name was Bosco. Anybody from Indianapolis know Bosco. Um, Bosco would pull up on us, young teenage boys in the hood, and offer us coins to try to have sex with us, offer us coins or Jordans. And I know some hood boys that, honey, you offered them some Jordans because they so poor, getting teased at school because they fucking running around with British Nikes on. And you offering them some Jordans just to take them to your house and suck their dick? I know a couple of niggas in the hood that was running around with Bosco Jordans. A few of them. I didn't because he was a fat old man. And at the time that he approached me, I hadn't had sex yet. I wasn't even, you know, you as a fat old man. And I was already entangled with my age peers. So I was already playing and getting my life with my same age peers. And so, but I remember some of the straight boys coming up with some Jordans and they mama don't know how they got them, but I knew how they got them. I knew I seen them coming out of Bosco apartment, getting out of Bosco's car after they done went to the mall. I know what Uncle Bosco do. And nah, he might not be playing in your booty. He might be just sucking your piece. So you still feeling straight because he just gobbling your meat for some J's. But he is a predator. That's what he is. And poverty got them in that position. Also, remember it happening with the girls, not with Bosco, but with honey James Williams. We used to have a Mr. Williams. We used to have a car wash on the corner of 16th and Central, which was right next to my building that I used to live in. And the car wash was owned by Mr. James Williams. And from my mama to my mama's friends, anybody that was under 18, James Williams would be offering some money or showing his penis. And apparently he had a big old dingaling. And all the girls, and me being a child, they would be talking to me, not talking to me about it, but talk because another element, sometimes adults would be having adult conversations, and because you're a child, they don't think you understand the conversation because you're a child, so they're having the conversation in front of you. I understood everything. I understand that y'all are explaining a creep. Y'all are explaining that this is a creepy dude offering you money and showing you his big old dick. And some of y'all took the bait and some of y'all didn't. And y'all laughing about it and it's jokey. I remember this and I remember him. I remember him talking and how he talked to the girls and how he talked to my mom and how he engaged and how they knew that money could convince some of them if they were in hard times. You know, we seen Set It Off. We seen Jada. I need this money, Nate. And they're just waiting in the wind. They're just waiting like little fucking snakes. Waiting like little snakes. And so they right there. I remember my mom's sugar daddy story. My mom's sugar daddy, his name was we called him either uncle or Mr. GB. So GB was way older than my mom. But my mom was 17 and she had me when she was 16 and she didn't have the support. And aunt, my aunt Roz, came to my mother's apartment. Now, my aunt Roz at this time, she was on drugs. So she would be in and out of our lives because she would be gone, you know, chasing drugs, men and drugs or whatever. But she would come back and see my mom every blue moon. And so this time she came and see my mom. And my mom had a bread bag on me for a pamper. And my aunt was like, bitch, what the fuck? Why is this baby why you don't have no pampers for this fucking baby? And my mom was like, you know, my mom crying. Now I'm a baby, but this is how they both describe it to me. They said my aunt said that my mom was crying, like ain't nobody helping me, and I done put all my money on the bills and da 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 da. I couldn't afford it. I had to buy either food or fucking Pampers, and I didn't have any Pampers, and so I cut up some towels and I used this bread bag. And so my aunt said, bitch, if you don't grow the fuck up, and she just gave her this hood ass auntie talk. Like, bitch, as long as you got a motherfucking pussy between your legs, you should have some money. You should not be fucking with no niggas that ain't got no money for you. So all these little niggas is running around, you letting fuck, cut them off. You need to fuck with niggas with some money. As long as you got a pussy, bitch, you got a commodity. Now, my aunt, she was rich at one point for being a madam who owned a bunch of parlors. So she didn't believe in not having no money and you had a pussy. And so she telling her, them church ass bitches that's judging you is also not helping you. So them church ass bitches that instilled in you that you can't sell no pussy because that's not a good girl way. Them same bitches is not helping you. Them same bitches judging you about having a baby that you're trying to live up to their standard by not selling no motherfucking pussy. They're not helping you. And your baby is sitting here in a fucking bread bag. Bitch, what's wrong with you? So my mother said, so what am I supposed to do? And my aunt hooked her up with this older man, and named GB, who used to be my aunt's older client from back in the day. But my aunt done got older, so you know he looking for something young. My aunt, an old hoe, still beautiful, but she an old hoe. He looking for something young, and so she introduced him to my mom, and GB was my mother's sugar daddy till he died at 96. And even me as an adult, I could come to GB and ask him for some coins and he'll give it to me. Just on the strength of how he has known me since I was a baby. Not on no tricking. I could just come and visit. He was like an uncle. And so I could just come and he give me some coins. Or I didn't even have to ask. If I come to his house, he'll give me, $200-$300 because he had money. He was like a rich black dude, hood rich, owning liquor stores, owning property, hood rich, not like white man wealthy, but hood rich. And he had a ticket house. He owned a couple of ticket houses running numbers. And yeah. So do y'all know what a ticket house is? Is that out of y'all age bracket? Y'all know what ticket houses are? Oh, I'm teaching y'all something. Okay, so ticket houses. Let me see if I can have. Uh, so all right, I'm gonna try to. I'm trying to look up so y'all can see what I'm talking about. See if I can find some pictures of them. Oh, well, I can't find it. So ticket houses is all right. So back in the day, t- we just used to have our own economy, black people. We just used to have our own economy. Like the candy lady, the penny candy lady. We Most hoods have penny candy ladies. They're selling you coolie cups, they're selling you penny candy, they're selling you candy bars, or selling you something, and she making a profit off of it because you know what I'm saying? She's selling you maybe fish plates, but usually, the candy lady. So we all have our own economy. So one of the staples in our hood, and there was a couple of them, was the ticket houses. And the ticket houses is like these underground casinos. Not a real casino, but think of like a bingo hall, but underground illegal. So they would sell bootleg drinks and they would sell tickets. So there would be these little strips of books of tickets. And so it would be it's these little strips. It almost looked like a picture book, but it have a bunch of numbers. So what you do, you buy a ticket and it'll come with a bunch of tickets in it. That one pack, you buy a pack for maybe like 20, um, maybe $10, $15, $20. And it's like a lottery, like when you pick your Powerball numbers, and then you go back to you buy the ticket when it's time for them to they put all the tickets in the little thing, and they spin it, and call the numbers out, and you will win some money based on the tickets that you win. It's like an underground lottery. It's like a hustle, and it's illegal, but they sell bootleg liquor there. They sell the tickets, and so it's just this thing that is going on. And so it's a ticket house. And so, of course, it's a gambling situation. So whoever owns it is making the most money out of the issue. But it's other people who will win. So my mama would go buy some tickets. Everybody would go play. It's just a little fun little thing to do, because it also was a social thing too, because you can go to the ticket house and get liquor, you know, and it'd be young girls in there trying to get the sugar daddies. Um, Almost, it's not a juke joint. It's not a juke joint, but it kind of move around like a juke joint because they be having music in there, liquor. It's called a ticket house. I don't know. Growing up, that was all I knew. They didn't let kids in there because that would make it hot for the police. But I knew where the ticket houses was. Like, you knew where they are, because they're not abandoned buildings. They don't look abandoned at all. They'll be like in the back of a pool hall, or they'll be back in a candy store. Like, say you come in, it'll be a candy store up front, but then you go to the back. Like, I remember the movie Dead Presidents. Remember when Lorenz Tate beat up Terrence Howard in that pool hall? It'll be something like that, but if you go back to the back, it'll be the ticket house. So like one of these places, they had all this arcade stuff in the front, pool tables and arcade stuff. So it'd be kids in there because ain't no liquor being sold in the front. And so you'll see all the kids playing the video games. I used to play Street Fighter, I used to play Pac-Man. It'd be all kinds of stuff. And so in the back, it'll be the ticket house, and they selling liquor and they bootleg liquor and all kinds of stuff, selling fish plates, all that kind of shit. Since it was before my time. Y'all making me feel old. Nah, I'm okay with that. I love aging. But yes, these were called ticket houses in back in my day. But this is when I was a kid. They had been played out. By the time I became an adult, ticket houses didn't exist no more. The NC sweepstakes. It might be they might have another name for it where you from too, but ours was called ticket houses, and it was a bunch of ticket houses, and different people own ticket houses. Some police would kind of bust them sometime and raid them. Um, sometimes, they'll be paying the police off just to let them keep going, shit like that. All that would be happening. Um, so he owned a few ticket houses. GB owned a few ticket houses, and but I'm saying all that to say this: there was a time when you know these these men will use their wealth or their money to influence young people, boys and girls, into sexual relationships with them, even though everybody in each know they're not supposed to be doing it. Not necessarily the teenagers in the scenario, but the adults know they're not supposed to be doing it. They can be locked up. But because it's such a norm, and they're not getting snitched on because the little kids, they're not raping them. Do you see what I'm saying? They're not forcing them into a sex act. They are manipulating them into a sex act with money. It is a transactional experience. So the kids doing it don't always know that this is wrong. They feel like, oh, he's just doing this for this. And so it's not always something that they just tell. Like it doesn't feel like they need to tell it. The ticket house was just called the juke joint. My great uncle owned one and sold tickets like you're talking about. He even had a roulette well in there. Yes, facts. Yes, the shine. It's like a little hood casino. That's what it really is. I don't know what y'all call it. You called it the juke joint. So juke joints for us were solely music. Juke joints for us was when we say a juke. First of all, juke joints was something that happened in the country. In Indianapolis, we were considered a city, so we didn't have juke joints in the city. Juke joints was when you come to the South. It was a place that you went to dance and listen to music. It wasn't, like we saw. Yeah, they'll have liquor and sell bootleg liquor, but exactly what you saw in Color Purple, where Suge Avery was singing that in the red. That's a juke joint. Even when it got older, in a little bit more fancy way, and they may be in a building instead of out in an outhouse somewhere in a barn or something. They would be it still was called a juke joint. It was centered around music and dancing. The ones I knew. I'm pretty sure maybe they sold tickets or something. But I only seen liquor. I ain't never really seen no tickets at the juke joint. We called those liquor houses out here. My grandma on my dad's side had a few. In Detroit, our juke joint is called the After Hour. We still have after hours now. But after hours here specifically are literally after hours. It's where you go when the club is let out and you're not ready to go home. And you go and it's still somebody there playing some music. They got some liquors in red cups. The after hours. That's what it's when you're not ready to go home. That's what the after hours is about. So another back to Honk for Jesus. Another which I thought that scene in the where was I at? The scene that was in the basketball court where he let you know that he still hadn't changed. He's still chasing men. He's still chasing boys. But then Regina sees him pulling his game. She sees him and she's like, "We can't afford this." And she even saying it in a nice way. Like, we can't afford to be this generous again. Even though she really want to say, this, honey, this gay stuff you got going on, we can't afford this again. We already got somebody suing us, taking it for everything we got. What's going on? We can't afford another one. You trying to be generous. We can't afford this. We can't afford you being generous. And I think that got her to the point where, this is doing too much. And then when she picks that hat that she really, really like, and then he's reading her and disrespecting her, talking down on her about her taste of her hats when she really liked this hat. And of all the things that you've done, you don't get to fucking talk crazy to me about my taste and my hat. I felt her when she had went off on him about that. Leave me alone. The hat ain't going nowhere. The hat is not going anywhere. And so basically, you know, it end up the dude that is suing him end up confronting him. And this is the part of the story that I really didn't enjoy the dialogue. There were so many I didn't want them to fight, but there was so much more that I don't he's not a victim because he knew what was going on, but and he wasn't a child. But he he was telling, you can tell that he had feelings for him because he was like, I didn't know I was the only one. Do you see what I'm saying? He was very much, it was other people. So he felt like he was the special motherfucker that the pastor was helping. But you mad because you found out other people was getting their dick and their coin. Child. And that's very Eddie Long story because them other people, them boys in Eddie Long story was very much mad that there was other boys. That convo didn't get as grimy as I felt like it had in real life. Yes, I wanted that conversation. I don't want to say if I wanted to go grimy. I just felt like there could have been a better critique of the situation, more sensitivity. Hey, I not sensitivity as him being emotional, but I would have wanted him to I would have wanted him to explain the intimate. I wouldn't want to see more of the intimacy of their relationship because you don't just hate these people. I can imagine that he just hates him, especially if he's doing stuff for you. There comes an emotional attachment to that you have. It's like your favorite client. It's like if you worked in the escort business, it's like your regular. It's like your regular that you are attracted to. That one that comes all the time that you don't mind having because he fine. Y'all have sexual chemistry. It's like that one. The one that does things outside of business for you. That. Because these are the type of relationships that happens in these circumstances. They don't just be, oh, I'm gonna come give you some money and we hook up and leave. It be, come on over to the church and I show you off to the other people, and I put you in such get you some good jobs over here. Sister Karen got a good job over here with you that I can get you on over here. I can it's more of a father figure, it's more of a mentor, it's way deeper than just I'm fucking you and paying you. It's deeper than that. It's other things that's happening in the scenario that is about care and putting you in a position of success. It isn't just sexual. And for somebody who doesn't have much, who would be in this scenario, who doesn't have anything, who don't have resources, that can translate into more than just um that can translate into you broken, into a betrayal, into a broken heart, into an emotional attachment outside of the sex. I did get that from Sterling though. I got a little bit more intimacy in his portrayal of his character. Like he cared for him. Remember when he was about to walk off and he said something along the nature of, "It don't have to end like this." He gave you a there was a tenderness in his portrayal that said, "I haven't talked to you face to face and seen you because you suing me, but since you brought your ass down here, it don't have to be that way." You feel what I'm saying? When he came and said what he had to say and was about to go, you can tell Lee Curtis still had feelings for him. So yes, I think that this was an amazing movie because it really I really enjoyed Trinity's character and how she explored the labor of the woman in the church, what they got to navigate dealing with these indiscretions of these men and how it affects them, how it affects how they didn't do anything wrong and it's still affecting her life, like her life is in shambles financially because of his betrayal. I think he felt betrayed on a whole other level. Mhm. Right. That one, it felt like who was the boy? What was his name? What was the one Eddie Long boy that tried to get an album and a book out back in his time? I had did a video about him. I have to go far deep into my videos. I had did a something Tarantino, not Quentin Tarantino, something Sereno. I gotta look it up. Not Spencer LeGrand. So Spencer LeGrand was one of the people. Um, who was the other? There was a fifth one. So this is all four of the other boys. This is all four of the quote unquote straight ones. They was cute. He had some good taste. But there was a gay one, a queer one. Yeah, Santino Kemp. I said queer. Tarantino. Santino Kemp. His book is called First Ladies. He was supposed to come on. He was supposed to come and do a video with me, but he wasn't ready to talk by the time I found him, and he was acting weird. He was acting like a celebrity, like he was, you know. But then the book didn't go nowhere, and he had hit me up trying to sell the book, and I was jaded because bitch, I wanted to talk to you a year ago, and now you trying to sell this book. Get out of here. So I didn't talk to him. But yes, Centeno Kemp. Yes. But a couple of them have released books and shit. But Centino is the one who didn't snitch on them or didn't take no money. The other ones, but Centino was also the one that was the more feminine, clearly gay one, like clearly visibly gay. The ones that were straight boys, those are the ones like we need our coins. All right. So that's it. Make sure y'all check it out and tell me, come back to this video and tell me what y'all think. If you're watching, thumbs up. And we're gonna spend the last 20 minutes talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. What's on your mind? But yes, and Honk for Jesus is on HBO Max, so check it out there. That is a good point, Sherry, too. When he showed that intimacy towards the young man and his wife saw, she realized the love her husband was capable of and that wore her out mentally. That's a good call out. That is facts. Because he's so disconnected emotionally from her. Like she's and this is another element too. What this image of married manhood, womanhood, da 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 da, it puts women in an objective space. Even the first lady of the church, you are the image, like you are a nice car. Like even the woman that you have on your arm is a part of the narrative of you having this fancy house and you having the fancy car. So Trinity, you are literally just an accessory to his life. You are the perfect wife. That's why he was up there. Remember that scene where right after the sex scene, the weird awkward sex scene, he started talking about where the most blessed his life was. And he was like, yeah, I got all these cars, I got all this, but where I'm the most blessed is my wife. And the camera goes to her sitting on the throne, smiling and like cross leg and getting all the praise and getting all the limelight because I'm the first lady. And I thought that was interesting. It's an interesting scene to be right after that horrible sex scene that he did not center her pleasure at all in private. And then here he goes giving her the most highest praise. This is where I'm the most blessed. This is where God blessed me the most. To the public, he's saying, this is my blessing. And that's how we just saw how you treated your blessing. This is all a front. Did you talk about the marketing and response of the movie when it came out? No, I didn't. What do you want to talk about? I didn't talk about that. The one that not that one. I'm sorry, already read that one. um, damn, hey Justin. Damn, I got here. I really want to see this one live. Yeah, you can go back and check it out. But yes, that's a good call out, Sherry, because I feel like her seeing that and realizing, oh shit, I'm dedicated to this. Whatever this is not what it is to him. I'm literally just a tool to get to a means for him. Not only I'm a tool of his image when we were in the height of our careers, but even now in the depths of our careers, in the depths of our lives, in depths of our marriage, I am literally just a tool. He literally will let me be the court jester. He literally will let me bring my props out, the black Jesus, bring my props out, put my yellow suit on, put my white mask on, and literally be the court jester in his honor. No matter if it is degrading me, no matter totally ignoring my dignity, he does not care. Taking it to the next level as me being a clown. In this moment, it's the mime, but it's also a clown. I'm performing, shucking and jiving for you to get back in the graces of everybody else. Not you putting on the mask. We ain't together putting on the mask. We ain't together doing it. It's me. You guilted me. Literally, he said, you're not ready to go to the next level. Exactly. Not together on the sidelines acting hurt a clown. Absolutely. Some people saw the trailer thinking it would be a positive story and got pissed on Facebook when they saw it like it doesn't happen in their community too and figure from the trailer they did something. Not just bad, but hypocritical to their congregation. This is the thing about it. When you air out the church folk shit, they get mad. They like to be in other people's business. They like to air other people's business out. Baby, don't let a girl get pregnant. They kicking her out and embarrass her in front of church. Remember the Fantasia story? Don't look. That is not how they love that, but they like to be in control of it. They don't want somebody on the outside telling their business and revealing their foolery. But I didn't expect the church folks to like it. I didn't because it's too close to home, too close to the truth, too close to the truth. Even in fiction, absolutely, because we all know these stories all across the country. This is not the a unique story. This is not a unique story at all. They wore out Leandria too when she got pregnant, but half their sons, husband, nephew got kids all over. Look, oh, this ain't my business, but we gonna talk about it. Look at Kiara Shear and her brother, Jay Drew Shear. Jay Drew got some kids. Could you imagine if Kiara had got pregnant? Now she done got married, so she trying to have a kid now, even though she done had two miscarriages. And she talked about them, and she had an amazing video. They did a Essence. Was it a Essence? I don't know. I can't remember if it was an Essence or not, but whatever. They had it. It was a cute video, and I watched it, and she revealed that she had two miscarriages, and um, what is the kind of pregnancy that they have to have an abortion? The not myopic. Somebody come on, cis women. What's the pregnancy that kind of happens in your fallopian tubes? Is it myopic? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. So she was having one of them, and so she was having one of them or something like that. And so and Kiara Sheard made a pro-abortion point. Gag me, cause this is church folk child. That's a scandal. So she made a a pro-abortion talking point. It wasn't fully there, but just the fact that she had made it and it was a pro-abortion talking point, it gagged me because I was not expecting that. I thought that she was gonna say something else, but she basically said that she had got really, she was having this pains, like really, really painful pains. And her doctor told her she needs to fly home now because where she was at, it was now because of the laws that they rolled back Roe versus Wade, where she was at, because she travels and sings, where she was at, it was actually illegal because of the abortion laws for her to do what she needed to do or she was going to die. And they told her to come back to her home, which is in Detroit, and and get the services there because they can do it. And so she made this pro-abortion point, and I was like, uh, the what? The Clarks, the Sheards, the bishop, the daughter of the bishop of overall bishop of Kojic of the Church of God of Christ, making a pro-abortion point. Woo! That was, and I'm giving it way more life than it may have been, but I didn't expect that from her. Trust and believe, I didn't expect, and she did it in a way that wasn't clearly pro-abortion, but this is a pro-abortion talking point because she was basically telling y'all that we need these kind of surgeries to be able to take care of our lives and so we won't die in certain situations. That's a pro-choice talking point, honey. I know you know that. It basically saying they have gone too far with the laws. And it's not that I'm pro-abortion, and because she said something along the lines of something along the lines of women taking advantage of these procedures. But there are people who their lives are on the line that might need the procedures that would be considered abortions. And so it was a great surprising talking point. But anyway, her brother has a child and has had a child, but that's a boy. And ain't nobody said nothing about it. And I don't know, I don't think he was married when he got this girl knocked up. But imagine if that was Kiki. Baby, we wouldn't have heard the end of it. He got 2, 3 kids now. Yes, I don't know if he married. Is he married? I don't think that first one he was married. Let me look up see if he married. I can't remember. I don't think he was married when that first baby came. Yeah, it's not saying that he married, girl. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, it's not saying that he married. So I know he got kids. I definitely got one that I saw. I don't know if it's 2 or 3, but I know he got one. But imagine if that was Kiera, the girl. She wouldn't have been able to live it down in this gospel dynasty. Yes, no. Thank you, California to love. I love you too. That's this movie also reminded me of John Gray and his church marriage. Ooh, tell me about John Gray. What's that too? Mm. But yes, check it out. I think that it's a good movie. I love Regina Hall getting into her actress bag. I think that she's always been known as the funny girl. She always been funny because her roles in um, Scary Movie as Brenda. She's always been the fun and Girls Trip and other comedy successes. She is a funny comedic actress, but she has recently gotten into her acting bag, and I'm really, really loving it. She did this movie with Nicole Kidman that she really, really did um good in. It was Nicole Kidman and Melissa McCarthy, and they were all on this retreat with this Russian lady who was a therapist, and they found out that she on some bullshit or whatever. But but yes, 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 yes. It is. Have a good night. It is a really, really good movie that Regina Hall is in her acting bag, and she does really, really good. John Gray. Oh, John Gray is the dude that's built like a Kim Moore refrigerator that keeps on cheating on his wife, right? He's built like a Uno card. Like a deck of Uno cards. John Gray keeps finding himself in situations with other women. But to me, he used wife to deflect from his cheating. Oh yes, yes. Yeah, I know. I don't you know, it's part of me. I be looking at him like, yeah, he is so. I don't like to, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Sometimes I be looking at people and I be like, oh yeah, girl, you didn't think he was cheating? He fine. Of course, the women's is throwing coochie at him all the time. But I look at John Gray and be like, God, y'all throwing coochie at that? But then he got coins, so you know, I you know, I'm like, ooh, no, thank you. I did not hear any audio recordings. I haven't followed it because he he is so unattractive to me. Like it's everything about him is so unattractive that the idea of him having sex disgusts me. So is the even the conversation about him cheating is like, ooh, what? It's like your pawpaw. Absolutely, Justin. We talked about how black women just grin and bear it. Just grin and bear it through the whole situation. I hit the wrong beat. Oh. She stayed though. She did. And he was the wildest explanation when he gets caught. Because this is their identity too, y'all. Y'all gotta understand that this is their identity too. Because another element, I was thinking about this. Um, my tour guide when I went to Egypt, my tour guide, she was 47, and she talked about how she married her husband, and she clearly told him that she wanted children, and if he didn't want children, don't marry her. Just let her go about her business. But because he wanted her so bad, he lied and act like he wanted children, but he didn't. And so when it was time for her to want kids, he didn't. He had done things to stop himself from getting kids. And so she felt like she had been betrayed and she divorced him. So, but then after after you've been married in this culture that says your value is in your chastity and your virginity, this dude has ruined you. So now you're going out into the world as used goods. And so you, this preacher woman who been with this dude for years and years and years and years and years, he's supposed to be your first man. Now you coming out in these streets, and you no longer have the chastity flower on your chest, the chastity bag. You no longer have that value that you had before. And you really do, but I'm talking about in this culture. If you're trying to stay in this culture of churchy, you don't have the value that you have too more because now your body count is too high, even if it's just one. Not saying that you can't find somebody else, but that. And then look at how much time you invested in this dude. Love and support. I gotta let this go. I didn't do anything wrong, God. That's what she was telling y'all in her monologue at the end. I didn't do anything wrong. I did what I was supposed to do. I stood by my man. I was faithful to my man. Everything that the Bible said I'm supposed to do, I did it. But here I am, under the bus. But, I forgot to talk about this. I'm sorry. I forgot to talk about this. Now, this might be a little strange conversation, but y'all tell me what y'all think about it. I ain't totally wrap my mind around it, but when I was watching it, this is what a theory that I came up with. Not that I came up with, but that kept coming to mind. A first lady is the closest a black woman can get to white womanhood's level of femininity. A black first lady is the whatever the peak white womanhood is, the ideal of femininity. A black first lady, that's the closest she can get to it. To be just on the side, doing nothing, being praised for it, getting a spotlight for it, being the ideal, being peak of purity and elevation. Yes, this is the closest that a black woman in this, and we talk about the structure of white supremacy, patriarchy, and blah 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 blah. That's the closest a black woman can get to peak femininity, because as a black woman, you can't get to that level of white woman femininity. You can't. That's not how the system works. And so the best thing that you can do is performative at its best. And the best way you can do that is being a Christian first lady of a church, mega church, baby. That is peak level performance femininity. Peak level, the closest you're going to get to white womanhood. The closer you're going to get to white womanhood level of femininity. Period. And that's when I saw her in that scene when he was praising her as his wife. And the scene at the end when she was saying, I did what I was supposed to do, what y'all all said I was supposed to do. So fuck my husband, stay with my husband, support my husband, support his dream, Stay with him even though I want to leave. Stay with him even though I done caught him cheating with boys. Stay with him even though he's trying to come back out of this hole that he done got us in for his indiscretions. Stay with him. Be on his side. Be his quarter. Be the ride or die. And here I am still not getting what I'm supposed to get at peak performance. And that's why putting all your eggs in the patriarchy basket does not pay off. It may pay off for a little while, but it doesn't. And we see that in white womanhood. We see that every time y'all put these, yes, your whiteness gives you certain privileges, but when it comes to your gender, it does not move forward because they keep pushing you back. They keep taking your laws and of about agency of your body away. Yes, you are voting out of your interest every fucking time to benefit your whiteness, but you are not voting in your interest to benefit your womanhood. And so every chance they get, they throw you under the bus. Every chance they get. Period. And especially if you are a black woman invested in this peak level femininity, you are if you do not have a dude that is perfect, if you do not have a dude that is playing the game perfectly, being faithful, and how many of how many of us got that? How many of them got that perfect man? And I'm not talking about perfect in every single way. I'm talking about even in the faithful. No scandals, no nothing, no scamming, no nothing, just on the up and up. How many of us got that? How many of us can keep that? Even if you're year 1 and 2, he ain't did nothing wrong, he good. How many of us got a man that can keep that record? That can keep that? So yes. Mm. You gotta love someone enough knowing they're gonna screw up. I think that works in regular life. I think yes. I think that works in regular life because nobody can be perfect. Um, I think people can be perfectly faithful. I think there are some people who are faithful. I don't think everybody cheats. Um, they may not be perfect in other aspects of their life, but I think that there's somebody can be perfectly faithful where they don't cheat on you at all. I do think that that is possible. I think that's more common. That's really common. I don't think there are some people who I just don't think cheat, and there's some people that I think do. But but when you are in this position, the position where you can't screw up, like it's like there are certain positions in the world that you can't screw up. There's no leeway to screw up. Think about Obama as the president. He had to be, and not perfect in policy wise, but perfect in scandal wise. He had to be perfect. You can't be cheating on your wife. You can't be doing any of that foolishness. You can't. Because there's no grace. You're on such a level of, you know, visibility that there's no grace for that. I think that knowing somebody can screw up is for us layman people. I think when you are in this high level of church, when you're in this high level of politics, anything that revolves around having a good image to the public, that peak level, because you got peak benefits from having this perfect image, it's like Beyonce. It's like, because you are this high level entertainer, you can't fuck up. It's not about being perfect, but it's a level that you are under so much scrutiny that your fuck up's got to be real small, honey. It can't be some big thing because you're gonna get dragged in the mud. A first lady and a white woman have to support at least two elements of the delusion of white supremacy: Christianity and patriarchy. Boom. Facts. Got to. You got to. Yes, honeys. So, all right, darlings. If you enjoyed the conversation, thumbs up. Also, I'm going to be talking about the Miss Cleo next Friday. So make sure y'all watch it on, that's on HBO Max too. Watch Miss Cleo. Um, Honk for Jesus, I think, is on Amazon Prime. If you didn't watch it, you can go watch it and check it out and come back and tell me what y'all think. Amazon Prime is Honk for Jesus. But Miss Cleo is on HBO Max, and we will talk about that when I come back Friday. Yeah. So I will see y'all later, and y'all have a wonderful evening. I'm about to go get me something to eat because I'm starving. All right, y'all. Bye bye.